Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Patrick Stewart delivered some truly legendary performances as Captain Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek: The Next Generation and Beyond. With its premiere in 1987, TNG introduced the world to a new Starship Enterprise crew led by Patrick Stewart's Captain Picard. At the time, the Los Angeles Times referred to Stewart as an unknown British Shakespearean actor, but he wouldn't remain unknown for long. By the time of the Star Trek: The Next Generation films, Patrick Stewart made Picard more of an action star, bringing the character's saga to a close with the lackluster Star Trek: Nemesis in 2002. Despite saying he was finished playing Picard, Stewart returned in 2020 for 3 seasons of Star Trek: Picard, the last of which reunited the TNG cast on the rebuilt USS Enterprise D. Star Trek: The Next Generation got off to a rocky start in its inconsistent first season, but the show began to show glimpses of its future greatness in Season 2. In what could be considered the first truly great episode of the series, and certainly one of Data's best Star Trek episodes, The Measure of a Man centers on a debate about Data's very existence. Captain Picard immediately comes to Data's defense when Dr. Bruce Maddox Brian Brophy claims the android to be the property of Starfleet. Patrick Stewart proves why he makes such a great starship captain, delivering a powerful speech about the dangers that could come from labeling Data as property. Between Data's trial and Picard's discussion with Guinan Whoopi Goldberg, Patrick Stewart helps make The Measure of a Man one of Star Trek's greatest episodes. After being severely wounded during a diplomatic mission, Captain Picard finds himself in a mysterious white space with Q. John Delancey. Q tells Picard that he's dead and allows him to revisit a moment from his past that he regrets. When Picard goes back and changes this moment, however, it alters the trajectory of his life for the worse. Patrick Stewart and John Delancey always play off of one another well, and Tapestry makes great use of the pairing, giving both actors plenty of compelling dialogue. As Picard revisits his past, Stewart gets to portray different versions of the character, and his performance, as always, is beautifully nuanced and layered. The Measure of a Man was Star Trek: The Next Generation's first great courtroom episode, but the series delivers another in Season 4's The Drumhead. When an explosion aboard the Enterprise D leads to an investigation, Admiral Nora Sadie Jean Simmons embarks on a witch hunt in search of a conspiracy that doesn't exist. After the explosion is found to be an accident, Sadie turns her investigation to Captain Picard, questioning his loyalty to Starfleet and bringing up his time as Locutus of Borg. This leads to a passionate speech from Picard as he calls out Sadie's dangerous fanaticism. It's a powerful moment, perfectly played by Patrick Stewart, who easily commands the room without resorting to unnecessary dramatics. By the time of Star Trek: Picard, Jean-Luc may have grown and changed since his time on TNG, but Patrick Stewart still brought his whole heart and soul to the role. While Stewart has many great scenes throughout Picard's 3 seasons, his big confrontation with Dr. Beverly Crusher Gates McFadden in Season 3's 17 Seconds may be the best. Admiral Picard has just learned that Beverly gave birth to their son, Jack Crusher Ed Spaliers, around 20 years before and kept his existence from Jean-Luc. From their facial expressions to the way they deliver their lines, Patrick Stewart and Gates McFadden are both incredible in this scene, which feels incredibly cathartic for both characters. Star Trek: First Contact centers on Captain Picard and his crew as they follow the Borg back in time to prevent them from interfering with Earth's first contact with the Vulcans. Captain Picard confronts his history with the Borg and takes on the role of an action hero. In one of Picard's best scenes from the Star Trek movies, Jean-Luc refuses to abandon the Enterprise, even if it would mean saving the crew and destroying the Borg. Patrick Stewart passionately delivers his speech, emphasizing that the line must be drawn here. This far, no further. It's a rousing declaration, but in this instance, Picard has let his hatred for the Borg blind him, and Lily Sloan Alpher Woodard calls him out, comparing him to Captain Ahab in Herman Melville's Moby Dick. Captain Picard is at his absolute best in Darmok, as he finds himself stranded on an uninhabited planet with a Temerian who speaks in metaphors only his people can understand. The Temerians transport Picard and their own Captain Dathan Paul Winfield to the planet's surface, hoping that their shared experience will help them find a way to communicate. Patrick Stewart perfectly plays Picard's frustration as he tries to understand Dathan's way of speaking. For much of the episode's runtime, Picard and Dathan are the only two characters on screen, and both actors deliver strong performances. In the hands of a lesser actor, Darmok might have been boring, but Stewart makes the episode riveting from its compelling beginning to its bittersweet conclusion. Family is a quieter episode of Star Trek that shows the characters as real people rather than larger-than-life heroes. After being assimilated by the Borg, the best of both worlds, Jean-Luc takes a break from commanding the Enterprise to visit his brother in France. Jean-Luc has a somewhat tumultuous relationship with his brother, Robert Jeremy Kemp, and the two end up brawling in the mud of their family's vineyard. Jean-Luc finally confronts his experience with the Borg, breaking down and pouring out his emotions to his brother. Captain Picard rarely shows his emotions, and in this one scene, he moves from anger at his brother to laughter at their fight to tears regarding his assimilation. It's a profound moment for Picard's character and a brilliant showcase for Patrick Stewart's considerable talent. Often hailed as one of Star Trek, the Next Generation's greatest episodes, if not the greatest, The Inner Light, gives Patrick Stewart the chance to play a character other than Picard. When an unknown probe strikes Picard with an energy beam, the Enterprise captain wakes up as Kamen, a villager on the dying planet of Catan. Picard lives an entire life as Kamen, when in reality, only 25 minutes pass on the Enterprise. Still, the experience stays with Picard for the rest of his life. The Inner Light works as well as it does in large part thanks to Patrick Stewart's brilliant performance, and the final scene of Picard playing the flute alone in his quarters remains one of his finest scenes. In one of Star Trek's most brutal storylines, Cardassians capture Captain Picard and torture him for information about the United Federation of Planets. The second episode of the two-parter pits Gul Madrid David Warner against Picard, as the Cardassian throws everything he can at Jean-Luc, who refuses to break. Patrick Stewart and David Warner play off of one another brilliantly, giving the whole sequence an almost Shakespearean feel. Picard's insistence that there are four lights remains one of the character's most memorable moments. In the end, Jean-Luc almost breaks, and Patrick Stewart's performance makes Chain of Command difficult to watch, as every moment of Picard's crumbling willpower feels real. When Ambassador Sarek Mark Leonard, father of Spock Leonard Nimoy, pays a visit to the Enterprise D, his deteriorating Bendy syndrome wreaks havoc with the crew's emotions. To help Sarek perform his duties at an important conference, Picard offers to mind meld with the Vulcan and take on his more volatile emotions. Picard's mind meld with Sarek leads to one of Patrick Stewart's best scenes, as he conveys all of the powerful emotions Sarek has held in for decades. The scene offers insight into Sarek's relationship with Spock, but also speaks to the strength of Picard's mind, as he lets the emotions wash over him without fully losing control. Star Trek: The Next Generation would not have been the same without Patrick Stewart, who delivered some of the most powerful and memorable performances in all of Star Trek. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.